These are Space Marine Dark Angels, one of the original and some say best chapters of Space Marines. Unfortunately, I don't know who painted this fantastic piece of artwork, so if any of you guys know, then please let us all know in the comments below. Now, the Space Marines in this piece are wearing what we now know as Mark VI Corvus pattern armour. This is normal for early Warhammer 40,000 as it had no other master. I mean marks. The other marks of armour came along later. I don't even think it was called Mark VI when it first came out, but I might be wrong. I think they just referred to it as Space Marine armour or power armour. As you can see, due to having eyes, the Dark Angels are wearing black armour. Some people new to Warhammer 40,000 will wonder why they're not wearing their usual green armour. Well, that's because it got changed, sometime around the middle of Rogue Trader I believe, and in lore just after the Heresy. There's a lot of different theories as to why they were changed, from art accidents to getting mixed up with the Salamanders, but I have no idea which is right, but we do need to know. Why did the Dark Angels change their colour? Also, the black with red accents looks a lot better than the dark green. I mean a lot. Something interesting on the Marines in this picture, which I've not seen before, are the pointy crotch pieces they are wearing. Usually the crotch plate looks like a smooth bulbous pair of pants, but these ones have a sharper front edge to them, almost like a shark's fin, but shorter and not very fin-like. We can see a few interesting slogans and graffiti dotted about on the Marines. The most famous one there is probably kill. Sometimes you see this spelt with just the one L. We can also see have a nice day on the Dark Angel's bolted casing. Is that a Vietnam War reference? Did it start there? I've seen it a lot over the years in various types of media. One of the Marines has also written Dark Angels on his shoulder pad, as I guess he forgets what chapter he belongs to. Oh, and there is one other slogan I can see. This last slogan says pray for death. I've seen this a couple of times in Warhammer 40,000 art. The other time was on a Flesh Eater's Space Marine shoulder pad. I don't know the original origin of the term, but I once saw them use the phrase in the movie Prince of Darkness, where the gentleman says it and then falls to bits.
Pray for death.
Jesus Christ!
My name's Marcel, and this is Snakeworks. Prince of Darkness is probably my favourite John Carpenter movie. Up there with The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China. So today's big question is, which is your favourite John Carpenter movie?
Sir, your wife is on the Vox. She wants to know why you took all the Wellington boots with you when you left for work this morning.
Why is this man wearing 3 pairs of Wellingtons anyway? He has them on in a layered fashion, one over the other. For those who are unaware, Wellington boots, I believe, were named after the Duke of Wellington. He was in a few sharp TV shows. I think he was a real person. So I think what we have here are your typical run-of-the-mill Imperial guardsmen. Again, like the previous piece, I don't know who the artist responsible is, so please let us all know if you do. Aside from the layered Wellington boots, the rest of the armour these guys are wearing is typical for Imperial guardsmen of the time. It's a nice look that I like a lot. I kinda wish our current regiments looked a bit more like this. Cadians do a little I suppose, but less futuristic. Although it looks like these two lads are wearing big birthday button badges, they are actually their regimental badges. These were divided up into coloured segments like a pizza or a pie, and then they had a number on top of that, signifying their company and regiment number. Or was it regiment and squad number? I might need to go and look that up. What I do like about this piece is that the lasgun looks correct. This isn't usually the case in a lot of Rogue Trader era artwork. The weapons usually look very janky indeed, like weird versions of current contemporary weapons, so it's nice to see proper las guns, and props to the artist for that. On the telephone man's chest is a las pistol in a holster. We don't see many chest-mounted holsters in 40k, and I think it looks cool, and I feel we need to see more of these. Can you name any miniatures that have them? Because I can't. In this picture, we have a huddle. A few different personalities stood around a table. I assume this is some sort of strategy planning session. Again, sadly, I don't know who created this piece, so if you know, let us all know. This drawing has rather a lot of different factions from the Warhammer 40,000 universe present. We can see humans, squats, mechanicum, and the filthy pointy-eared Eldar. Never trust an elf. Are the Eldar really just elves in space? Because I think they are. Space elves are what they should be called, and squats could just be called space dwarves. What do you think these guys are actually planning for exactly? Judging by the look of the thing on the hologrammatic table, it would appear they're planning on visiting Disney World. I'm sure that's the Cinderella castle there. Or was it from Sleeping Beauty? I've never been to Disney World, but I would like to go one day. If any of you have been, let us know what it's like. There's a guy leading the strategy debate. A guy who I shall refer to as Brain Man. He has a big head, and it's actually plugged into the computer. This is very 40k, and I like this a lot. It has that weird, creepy factor to it, which I don't feel we have enough of these days. It also reminds me of something you might see in Dune, which isn't a surprise as Dune was a huge influence on the setting and narrative of early 40k. The Space Marine on the left with a muffin top has some interesting shapes on his bald head. I'm assuming these are some type of tattoos as opposed to shadows from something on the ceiling. I've no idea what they might mean though. They look a bit like a barcode. Now I do have one very important question when it comes to this piece of art. Can anyone tell me why Donald Duck is hiding under the table? I know he's there as I can see his foot sticking out, or his flipper, whatever the correct term for a duck's foot is. Seeing that duck's foot reminds me of the movie Howard the Duck. I tried watching it many years ago when I was about 8 and I got scared. I don't even remember if there was anything scary in it. Was it worth a watch? Is it worth revisiting now, or is it absolutely terrible? Now if you fancy coming to discuss old 80s movies, or anything else hobby related, then feel free to come along and join us on our friendly Discord server, which is not behind a paywall. There's a link in the description below, and one up here somewhere. We look forward to chatting to you there. Here we have what I think is a man in shock by an unknown artist. Bung it in the comments below if you know who's responsible, please. Now I'm not sure why, I think it might be the pose and expression, but I get the feeling this guy has just been told a dirty little secret. Also, I've just realised there's loads of pieces of Rogue Trader art of people looking shocked and covering their mouths. Maybe it was an artistic trend at the time or something. Now this geezer looks to me to be possibly based on Sylvester Stallone's most iconic role, Cliffhanger. No, sorry, Rambo. I think I've seen the first 2 Rambo movies, but I've not seen the 3rd or 4th yet. Are they any good? Are they worth a watch? I get told they're a little silly, but it is a one-man army movie. That's the point. We love a little silly fun now and then. The hand covering Rambo's mouth looks a little out of place to me. Is it actually his, or is someone off screen reaching around to cover it up? Maybe he's being assassinated by an assassin or something. In the background, I can just about make out another chap. It looks like he's squinting and looking intently at his mobile phone screen. I wonder just what he is actually doing. Any guesses, anyone? Actually, on closer inspection, it looks like he might be talking into his watch, Dick Tracy style. As the guy in the background is so hard to make out, I swear I can see a baseball bat for a leg. Is this some sort of improvised prosthetic, or is there a weapon just laying around next to his leg that looks like it? Maybe he has a pirate style peg leg.
Excuse me, mate. I don't know if you know, but you appear to have a knife wedged in your neck. Let me help and pull it out for you.
Why do orcs always speak in that ridiculous tone? Where did it originate? We need to know. So what we have here is what appears to be an orc, or space orc as they were known at the time, assisting a man who's having a little trouble. Again, sadly I'm unaware of who the artist is, so please let us know if you can. In all honesty, this is quite a grisly scene, a violent portrayal of the dangerous happenings in Warhammer 40,000's universe. I feel the artwork these days is a little less graphic. There's a lot of battling, yes, but less intimate. It's hard to explain. You know what I mean. I'm having a little trouble deciphering the net-shaped object next to the orc. Is this the guy's bandana? Or is it the orc's t-shirt fabric? Or is it just a piece of net? I can't quite work it out. Hopefully one of you have better eyesight than me. The victim in this piece, the human, appears to be wearing something that looks like a power glove or power fist from that old Catachan piece of artwork. You know the one, where it looks exactly like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That might have actually been a picture of Sly Marbo now I think about it. Also, it looks like the prosthetics Nemesis has in A Rebel Moon. Have any of you guys seen that? I recently watched it on Netflix and I found it okay. I feel this orc looks a little smaller than your usual orc specimen. Maybe it's a young orc, a baby. What are baby orcs called anyway? Orcs? Orcbees? Or is that just what a Gretchen is? Sadly, I've only ever painted a couple of orcs. I do, however, have some in a box somewhere that need building and painting. Some old RTB something or others. I think you got 30 of them in a big yellow box. I'm not sure when we will get around to those though, as I want to make sure I do a good job on them, so they'll stay in the pile of shame for many, many years. I think it'll be good fun though when we do get around to them. Now speaking of good fun, if you're enjoying this video then please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. That means you, Stephen. If you are enjoying the content on the channel then please consider joining us on Patreon or becoming a channel member, which is all the rage these days. Again, there's a link to that in the description below or up here somewhere.
Bloody hell, David. It clearly says, do not drink on the bottle. For God's sake, you're the reason we have to have instructions on shampoo bottles. You idiot.
This here lovely piece of Rogue Trader era artwork depicts a couple of chaps in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Sadly, like before, I don't know who drew this piece, so if you know, please let us know. This stuff really needs archiving. Although the instrument looks a little bit like a shampoo bottle or talcum powder tub, I think it's more likely to be a scanning device, like a tricorder from Star Trek. What were those things anyway? Just scanners? What were they doing? I need to Google it. The guy being scanned looks a little worse for wear, a bit bedraggled or poorly. We can tell this because he's dribbling or drooling from his mouth. Either that or he's just been offered an opal fruit, made to make your mouth water. When did they get renamed into Starburst anyway? The chap holding the tricorder looks to be wearing the exact same style of spacesuit the crew wore when they investigated the derelict in Alien. There's always an Alien reference in these old pieces of art, and this time it's blatant. I still like it though. Both of the characters are wearing interesting looking badges with logos on that I have not seen before and I do not recognise. I would assume these are just made up by the artist on the day and not taken from any official sources. Some amazing artwork there. If you want to see some more Oldhammer art videos, then check out the playlist up here somewhere. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Oh, must be time to go.